All right, we're going to do a full breakdown of the Valley. This is one of the most highly anticipated projects to come to the Woodbridge area in a very long time. In summary, it is being built on what used to be the Board of Trade Golf Course, which became the Country Club, and is now 300 acres of green space, with 200 acres of that being preserved as recreational green space, trails, everything else for the community to enjoy, and 100 acres being developed on, creating the Valley. Now, Phase 1 is 112 detached lots on 40 and 45-foot lots. That is going to be called the South Hill. Phase 2 is going to be the North Hill, and I'll show you some renderings of the site plan after, but the North Hill will have over 400 homes. So this Phase 1 is really intimate, really nice, and all detached. So if you're looking for something a little quieter, a little more upscale, detached only, this is the phase for you. And I'm going to break down everything because in the information packages that I'm sending out, there's a lot to sift through. You've got floor plans, pricing, site plans, everything, upgrades, all of that from 3 builders. So from this project, we have Marycroft Homes, Poetry Living, and Remington Homes, all fantastic in the low-rise space. And they're really, really, really going to make this development exactly what we need in the city of Vaughan, and specifically in this Woodbridge pocket. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the site, 300 Clarence, that is where the presentation gallery is. Now, I grew up very close to here. Okay. I could walk to here from my childhood home. So I know the area really well. I used to actually golf on the Board of Trade Golf Course when I was a kid. I used to go tobogganing here in the winter, which maybe we weren't supposed to, but we did anyways. So this here is Clarence. Okay. Let me just bring myself over here. So this is Clarence along here, right here. Okay. This is where the presentation gallery is. Everything on this side is remaining green space. Up here is where we are getting these new homes. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. Humber River is running all the way through. Clarence is kind of the divider. This, and if you drive by down Clarence across Meeting House, you'll see there used to be one of the holes right here. Okay, this is where the presentation gallery is. This is all preserved green space. On this side here is where phase 1 is coming. Okay, now what I really like about this specific first phase is that there's no access from multiple points. Okay, you're going to come in from Islington up Davidson down Lloyd Street, and this is where it's going to go. Okay, if you know the golf course, it's where the clubhouse used to be and the driving range. So let me open this. Okay, here's a better look of phase 1, the South Hill. Oh, let me move myself over. Okay, so here's a look at the actual site plan. This is, again, that phase 1 South Hill. The green are going to be by Remington Homes. Okay, the pink ones are going to be Poetry Living. I keep mixing these up. And the blue is going to be Marycroft Homes. All right, now if we look at it this way, oops. Okay, we look at it this way. Here's a look again. At the top, you have Islington Avenue here. Okay, Lloyd Street is where you pull in. At the end of here, it is a dead end. Okay, so you have kind of this like dead end cul-de-sac at the very end, which connects to these trails that go into all of this green space. Okay, which is really nice. So it's not a through street. You're not going to have people coming whipping through here really quickly. Now, you don't see everything on this because the other homes that are already existing in the area aren't pictured. Okay, they can't render those homes. So this is a look at, this is at the presentation gallery, but just to go through it a little bit further. So these houses here, okay, on this side of Bumblebee Drive, back onto the homes that currently exist on Davidson. Okay, then on this side here, you have the ravine side. Okay, so these are all ravine lots. Majority of these homes here, I hope you guys can see my cursor going around, are 40-foot lots. Okay, a lot in here, but the nice thing is you've got that ravine side. No homes are coming behind you. Okay, because the north phase, the North Hill is on this side. Okay, closer to Rutherford, Clarence and Rutherford. So coming from Islington, these, you've got the Davidson homes, which are beautiful behind you. Then everything on this street here, which is Atherley. I'm not familiar with all the street names just quite yet, but these ones are backing onto Waymore Heights. So up here, you've got the public school. If you go way all the way down Waymore Heights, that's Pine Grove Public School. That's actually the school I attended. So like I said, big fan of the area. I also know it intimately, but this is where the Waymore Heights homes are. Big, beautiful, well-maintained, beautiful homes. Okay, so no concerns about what you're backing onto here. it's residential, and those people used to back onto the golf course. So that's now changed, but it's not going to be back to back like this. You're going to have a big buffer of space. And then on this side, you've got that dead end. Okay. Truthfully, in my opinion, we'll pull out the site plan again. Okay. Do I have a bigger picture? Let me see if this is a better photo. Not really. Okay. So hard to see in this site plan from the way I have it, but there's truly not a bad lot in the entire development, because when you're pulling in from here, okay, I know this is a little bit flipped around from the other picture that I had. When you're pulling in, okay, these are the ravine side again. These are the ones backing onto Waymore Heights, backing onto Davidson. And then these ones tucked away down here, you're on that end of the street, on that dead end. Okay, so a lot of good options. Now let's look at a couple different floor plans, a couple different builders. What I love is that there's so many options sub 2 million. Now, if you're looking at something in the resale market right now and you want something turnkey, because one of the biggest things, there's a lot of people saying that these prices feel a little bit high compared to the resale market today. That is 100% true. There are options out in the resale market for 1.2 to 1.4, but they're not turnkey brand new homes. They ultimately need renovating. So if you were to purchase a brand new, not even necessarily brand new, but a modern turnkey home in today's market on the resale side at the size of some of these, where you're looking at 3,000 square feet on a 40-foot lot, very realistically, you're over that 1.7 hurdle already. So why I love this project is you're getting a turnkey, brand new home, top of the line developer in a community that is truly like no other in the Woodbridge area. We're going to have these beautiful estate homes, but the prices don't reflect a custom build in any way, shape, or form, or are they extensively above and beyond what you could get in the resale market today? So a lot of great options. Okay, these are the floor plans on the 40-foot lot by Poetry Living. Ganton is one of my favorite options because I really like the exteriors. Obviously, you've got always a couple different elevation options. You've got elevation A and elevation B. So if you want something more modern look or more of that traditional transitionary vibe, you've got some different options here. Okay. Floor plans. One of the options is to have a finished basement that is an upgrade, and we can go into some of the upgrades after, but all the floor plans are here. This is one of my favorite options, and I'll show you why. So the Ganton is one of the 3,000 square feet options, and it is well under $2 million. You're in that mid 1/8 section. So it's one of my favorite floor plans when you look at it, and really beautiful home, really beautiful elevations. A big burning question about bungalows. I've had so many people express a lot of interest in bungalows. Poetry is doing bungalows. You've got two options here. Okay. The Lanich, you have a 45-foot lot. These are the two elevations for your bungalows, a true traditional bungalow, about 2,500 square feet. Now, these ones are in and around that $2 million price point. Then, I believe they're up here. Let me just show you the other one that I really like. If you're interested in bungalows and you don't want to be limited to one option, they have one other floor plan in here that is a bungalow loft. Here we go, the Humbercombe. Big fan of this one as well. This one's a little bit bigger. You've got 3,700 square feet. So bigger home. This one does have a loft area on the third floor, and you'll see it here. So main floor, loft area. So this is where you can have a primary suite, different things, but it's a little bit larger than the other bungalow if you need that living space, and it has that loft style. But also still very much like a bungalow. You've got this main floor with bedrooms, full bathrooms, everything you need. So there is, in my opinion, a shortage of bungalows, right? We don't see them built as often as 2 stories. A lot of people need this bungalow style based on preference or based on an aging community. And when you get to a certain age, the stairs can be a little bit difficult. So I'm thrilled that they do have bungalow options in here. So these are both by Poetry Living. This is one of my favorites by Marycroft. Again, we're going through a very high level, and I'm not going to bore you with every single floor plan, every single detail, but Trillium is one of my favorites because it's over 3,000 square feet by Marycroft and sub 2 million. So beautiful exterior. You have a couple other elevation options here. They have stone and brick options, different things. And then you've got the floor plans here, which I will attach. Anyone who wants to see these closer can let me know and I'll send you the full package. But if we look at the price list here, you will see that the Trillium, over 3,000 square feet for all 3 elevations, and you're at that mid 1/8 range, okay, depending on which elevation you choose. Personally, I love elevation A, and it happens to be the cheapest. If you go back here, you've got elevation A is this one here. Very traditional style. I love a traditional style house. Everyone's different, but this is elevation A. Beautiful. That's the cheapest, but small degree of variance between those three, all sub 2 million. Now, I do want to get into some of the larger ones as well. So Remington has some beautiful options that are close to 4,000 square feet. These are big, big homes. Okay. So if you need an upgrade from what you're currently living in, if you're in a detached, a semi, or a townhome in the Vaughan area, and you're looking for that lifestyle and house upgrade, all three builders have excellent options, but I want to showcase some of the ones that Remington is offering. These are on 45-foot lots. Okay, this is the Quest. You're just shy of 4,000 square feet. Again, just shy of 4,000 square feet, and you're sitting, again, under that 2.2 mark here. So the larger the house, of course, the larger the price tag. Here you have a great option that is still below 2.2, nearly 4,000 square feet. So a lot of options. What I like is each builder has a variety of different home styles, different exterior styles too, depending on what your preference is, if it's something more modern, if it's something more traditional, and also floor plans. We've got a variety of floor plans, so you can come in, you can sift through them, see what fits you and your family's needs and what makes the most sense. Now, another big question is the deposit structure, so let's go over that really quickly. All of the deposit structures do vary slightly, but I would say generally they are pretty similar. So for example, you've got the deposit structure for the 40 and the 45-foot lots. This is for Poetry Living. So with this, in 210 days in total, so after 210 days, you would need a total of $190,000. Now that is spread out over that 210 days, and you'll see it here. So 50,000 with the offer, 20,000 in 30 days, in 60 days and 90 days and 120 days. So all of those increments are $20,000. And then that brings you to the total of 190,000. Now, a little bit different for the 45-foot lots because they are a little more costly. It'll bring you to a total, where is it? Of 210,000. Okay, so 190, 210. This is for Poetry Living. Now, they do vary a little bit. Let's go into the Marycroft ones. Okay, very similar. You've got 210,000 within 240 days. So if you need that little bit of flexibility, you want to spread over a little bit more. This one's a total of 210 over 240 days. Okay, and then we'll go into Remington. Now, this is the one for Remington, also spread out over 240 days, amounts to about $210,000 as well. So each of them, you do have some time. They does spread out the payments. In terms, I think this is such a good option for a lot of people is because if you are looking to upsize or upgrade your home or even potentially downsize into one of the bungalow options or a smaller property from what you're currently living in, this gives you that flexibility. These are going to be completed anywhere between late 2027 and early 2028. Why that makes a lot of sense is that if you are in the position where you do need to sell your home, you don't need to do it right away. You have a little bit of flexibility to plan, prepare, structure things how you want, and list in the market that you want. So if now you don't feel is the best time to list your home, you can list it in line with that, and you're listing in a little bit of a different market where we do predict things to pick up a little bit, especially in the freehold space and especially in a very resilient and highly sought after market like Vaughan. We don't see a lot of detached inventory being built every day. Condos we see around the GTA, around the Toronto area being built more frequently, maybe not so much right now in this market. A lot of builders have put a pause, but the builders on the detached side, there's very little land to be developed on in these highly sought after pockets like Vaughan. Now, this, they were able to secure a golf course. A lot of space here. Obviously, they're only developing on 1/3 of that. But what is so nice is you've got three reputable builders pulling this project together, and it's not just going to be a bunch of homes packed in there and feeling like a new claustrophobic subdivision in any sort of way. It's going to feel like a very special area and pocket of Woodbridge because that's truly what this pocket is now. And I encourage people, if you're not familiar, to go drive by. I love this area. Like I said, you're walking distance to a lot of things. You've got cafes, restaurants, shops, everything there on Market Lane, which is such a nice community to be close to. You've got all of the Islington corridor there with other restaurants, shops. You're very close to transit as well. So if you have mature kids that need to commute into the city for work, if you need to commute to the city for work, or your kids need to go to school, York University, things like that, it's a short drive or commute via transit to any of those places. As for the schools in the area, top tier elementary schools might be biased. I went to the closest elementary school, but aside, there are amazing schools in the area. So for young families looking to have space to grow into rather than quickly grow out of, I think this is a great option. For a lot of people that want to downsize, maybe they've outgrown their larger home in Vaughan that is 5,000, 4,000 square feet even, and they want something a little bit smaller, around 2,500 square feet. I think there's great options here in that sub 2 million price range in the mid 1.8s. So depending what you're looking for, I think there's something here for a lot of people, and I wouldn't rule it out before taking a closer look. So if you want more information and you want the full package of floor plans, pricing, or you want to go through it a little bit more with a fine-tooth comb, let me know, send us a message, or give us a call. All of our contact info is very easy to find. And then that way we can go through it a little bit more intimately. I wanted to do a high level for everybody who received all the information or is looking at it online, and it can feel a little bit overwhelming. So this is everything in summary. But again, any questions, reach out to me, and we can also schedule a time to go to the presentation gallery to go through everything. And then you can see all of those photos I showed you of the site plans and the renderings of the community. You can see it in real life to really, really get a better idea of what's going on. Okay, but in summary, this is the Valley. I'm truly, truly excited about this project, and I can't wait to see it come to life.